Yeah, so today we're doing Excel, and now that you have understood the interface, the tabs, the cell, the sheets, and everything that you talk about, let me ask: do you talk about the types of cursor? Mohad, did you talk about the types of cursor, worksheet protection? Okay. So I was talking. I think if maybe you've forgotten, I talked about the worksheet protection. There is what you call a workbook protection level. There's a worksheet protection level, and there is what you call uh, workbook. So there's file, worksheet, and a workbook. So basically, you can protect this file to restrict people from editing, people from modifying, from copying your data. So how do you do that? Sometimes starting with the worksheet. So this is the first thing. If you want to put a password when you are come to file, then from file info, then there is a protect workbook. So from this point, you can encrypt this workbook with the password. So let me give it a password. Then I'll confirm the password by just clicking here. So once the workbook is protected, so assuming I save it, we talk about advanced Excel. Yeah. So this workbook is saving. Just give it some. So if I want to access this workbook, I'll need a password. So let me open it. And let's see. Is it under documents? Okay. Uh, I didn't see the part that I used to save it, but it's okay. Let me open another one. Yeah, it's here. So it's saved under documents. So if I want to open it, once you click on it, it will require a password to open. So I'll just put my password and access the file. So that is the file protection level of an Excel. The next one is worksheet. So I can protect these worksheets. So if you protect them, somebody cannot insert, delete, rename, copy, cannot, you can see that the protection is here. Then somebody cannot change the color type. So this will be, all these options will be inactive. So how do you do that? So if you come to view, there's a workbook protection. So I can protect these three worksheets. So one, two, three. So I can protect the worksheet. So you can use a password or not. So for this, in this case, I'm going to use a password. Then I confirm my password. That is it. So if you give somebody this book, they cannot. Again, if they want to unprotect it, they'll have to do what? Assuming I want to do, assume I want to rename this worksheet. You can see I can't because these options are now inactive. The next thing is workbook. So I can protect this worksheet. If you highlight the cells that you need to protect, then you do what? Then you come to workbook. So under view, there's protection. So I can just do with a password or without a password. So if you unselect these ones, then if somebody tries to edit something, they can't because you can see it's telling us that the cells that you're trying to change is protected. To make a change and protect the sheet, you will be requested to enter a password. So basically, you can't do that unless you come to, again, if you're at home, you might not see that option. So you need to know where it is under view. Then you can just unprotect it. You can protect the workbook by giving it a password. Something to remember, Excel does not have any password recovery mechanism. So if you forget your password, that is the end of it. So you need to be able to remember if you put any password. You can protect a worksheet without having a password. So you can just click protect, then that is it. You can see they are not active, but I have not put a password. So basically very simple. Uh-huh. So that is basically what I wanted to tell you about worksheets in terms of protection. They want to do something that is very simple. We're going to have to create a data set, and this data set is basically a school management system. So school management system. So where we have people with the registration number, so reg number. Let me add a column here. So these are just number. Then this is basically maybe student name. Talk about name, gender. Then maybe let me talk about units for maybe maths, Swahili. These are languages, uh, geography, physics. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me add one more, and English. So basically, these are this is what we have at this school management system. I want to drag this one back to this point. Then I want to highlight and I want to have it as this point. Yeah. So let me have serial numbers, and I'm going to use sequence to get a sequence of numbers. So there's a function called sequence. Morgan, did I share with you a link, or who did I share with that link? So let me start with the basic way. The basic way to have a sequence of numbers is basically give it two numbers, 1 and 2. So Excel has the ability to read a sequence within the numbers. So I want just 10. The second option is this. You can just give it 1, then make sure you're seeing the autofill cursor that is used to apply a function across different cells. Then there's this button here, click fill cell series, then you'll have it. The third option is when we use now sequence. So I can use a sequence, and I want 10 rows. I want one column, start from 1, step is 1. Basically that, and I have the numbers populated. So there are 3 ways of getting this one. So if you don't have this function called sequence, please just use the normal one, autofilling normal. So I'm going to delete these 2, and I'm going to use this one. So sequence of numbers, a sequence of numbers. Again, you can even add, for example, if you have the registration numbers taking a specific format, let's say X, I can have previous X. Let me talk about it having 2023. Then I'm having again, you can see the function is here. So if you don't see it down here, the function is always up here. So from here, I'm going to use serial number. So your serial number is going to have 000, and that is it. 00001, 002, 003. So basically that is how I can populate, and I'm going to use a function called comma, and I'm going to use a function called sequence now. So sequence will give me from 1, I want 10 rows, 1, 1, and 1. So sorry, so this part already has something. I don't know why it's not working. There's an error in the workbook. Okay. So I can find this one. Let me see. Okay, let me open a new workbook and try it first before, because that may be having a sequence. Let me have, for example, x75. So this is text 2023. Then this is going to be in. Then I'm going to have and. So there is a function called and sequence. So and means it combines. So sequence, I'm starting from 1 to 10, 1, 1, 1. Yeah, so you can see basically Excel sometimes has that error if you already have a function that is in the same place. That's why you can see this one is not working, but it's the same thing. Okay, let's do it here. Let me copy these ones and have it the other side. So you can add a column by just pressing Control Shift A. I want to insert a row. Yeah, then I paste now. So to paste, I just come this point and I paste. So basically, this is my data. So the serial numbers look this way. Again, to avoid that space, I can just have it this way. I can edit it to add something like this. So you can now see 001, 002. That is how basically sometimes you find these guys populating for us IDs, job work, emails, and such kind of things. So I have them. I'll double click here to format to make sure that everything is okay. So the names, let me have just normal names. Jane, James, Jed, Jacqueline, Joy, Job, Jen, James, Joe, Jeff, John, and I'm having the last one, Jesus. So this is not Jesus, Jesus. So the next one is gender. We are having this one as male. Then I'm having female. That is male still. Female, female, male, female, male, male. So basically, that is how you can enter data manually. Again, there is something called. Let me see whether I have it. It's not here. Okay, I'll show us that one in the next class. There's a form that can enable you to do these entries so fast without having to do it the way I'm doing them. So the first function we're learning today is called random between. So it enables us to randomize numbers between the specified limits. So the bottom, maybe in math, somebody gets 20. The highest is always 100. So this function randomizes number first. So the first thing is just write rand. It has the syntax of bottom and top. So the lowest value, the highest value, then press enter. Then once you highlight, once you get this one, autofill going down by just dragging or double clicking on it. Then autofill going to the right. So basically this is our data. Okay. So number one, you need to be so keen and realize that if I do anything, these numbers keep on changing. If I do anything, if I change anything in this table, these numbers keep on changing because the function keeps on running. So how do you avoid that? Highlight the entire data set, Control C. We are going to copy it, but we are going to paste it special. We are not going to paste it the normal way we've been pasting. So to paste it special, there is this under home button, on home tab. There's this paste clipboard. So this paste has several options. This paste, even if you click on this the diagonal arrow facing down, you'll have several options. You can see you can paste. If you have options, there's options here. Okay, so there's these paste all, clear all. So if you want them, let's have them. So I want us to click on this paste. Then you can see there is paste special. So we want to paste special, and at this point, click on paste special, and you can see what is selected is all. So it copies formula, formats, column, everything, validation, comments. For us, we want just copy values so that that function is not copied and it doesn't keep on changing. So I'll just click OK once you check values. Now, if you click on this value, there are no functions that are running. Okay, so that is how to copy paste special. Let me merge this one across selection. So I want to merge this one at the center, but I'm not going to use this merge center. So there's a difference between doing this merge center and what you call center across selection. So click on this drop down arrow, then at the horizontal, whatever is selected is general. I want to select center across selection. So the difference between, you can see it's almost the same thing. It's almost the same thing, but the difference between merge across selection and merge center, this one, merge and center, is because I can select individual cells. So look at that. But if we do merge across center, we cannot select individual cells. So you cannot copy this column as well. So you can see because this one doesn't allow us. So we always do what we call merge across selection by just coming to this drop down arrow, then under alignment, click center across selection. So that is it, and click OK. Make it bold. You can change the background, give it a different color. So I'll give it that color, orange, and these other ones also I'll give them a different color. I just click at this point and I need a different, yeah, so let me see, something that is almost, so you can always change whatever you want. Okay, I'll click highlight all, then alt. You remember how we did alt, H, O, then I want to autofit. I want to autofit each of these column width and rows. So the first one I'll go with A, alt H A. That is okay. Then alt H O and I. You can now see everything has been adjusted to fit in its space. So remember, this one keeps on changing. Whenever you click anywhere, this data keeps on changing. That's why we are copying and pasting it special. So this is the work that this is our data, and I want us to do find the total. So total is basically the sum of everything. For Jane, James, Jade, going down up to Jesus, Ama Jesus. So basically at that point, I'm going to start by using a function called sum. So this is the first option to do total. There's a function called sum, then highlight the numbers. So this guy is having 397. Autofill by just left clicking and dragging down. Left clicking and dragging down. So that is it. Very simple. The second option to do this total is very simple again. Highlight, then come to formula, then auto sum. Click on auto sum. Look at that. So basically it's very simple. Highlight where you want to do sum, come to formula, then auto sum. You can see the area is selected. That is very simple. So basically very simple. The next one is highlight the entire area, press alt equal. So there are several ways of getting these options, these work done. highlight the area, highlight even one, press alt equal. So if you press alt equal is an option for what? Auto sum. Look at that, it's already here. If you move around this one, you'll see alt equal showing you being alt equal is what? So alt equal is what you call auto sum. So if you press enter, then autofill. Okay. The next thing I want us to find is average. Find the mean. So the mean, we use a function called average. So average is here, and highlight the data set. Highlight this once again. Again, you highlight up to English. Don't highlight until you cross over to the total. So up to English. Then this guy is having an average of 79.4. Very simple. Mhm. The next one is I want us to find average. You can use that formula or you can use this option. So this is average too. So how do you do average as well? What you can do is you can click equal, then you have this total, divide it by what? Check total, then divide total by 5. And so you're getting the same thing. Very simple. The same thing. You can divide everything by 5, then apply the formula across the different rows. You get the same answer. So it doesn't matter. Again, you can always write a function. For example, you can use sum. You can start by sum, and you sum all these ones up to that point. Close, then divide by what? Divide by 5, or divide by the count. So count how many are there. So you can count actually. Sometimes you can use a dynamic that is, can now see still getting the same, but the formula is different. Look at that. The formula is different. So there are several ways of getting to the same answer. It doesn't mean that one thing is you have to be dynamic. Yeah, that one thing is that is the only way of getting maybe. So you can use these ones. It will be a matter of how what you remember and what can work for you first. So at this point, you can do with any. So there's count. There's one that you're dividing by 5. So the second one was average 3. Where we took this one divide by 5. So 5, the reason why we are using 5 because the count of subjects are 5. Somebody might be asking. So we have three different. Actually, there are more. If you can think about them, there are more ways of getting the same thing. Again, you can just do sum, then add these ones up to that point, close the bracket, divide by 5. So I need you guys to think of all options, all possible ways of getting average, getting sum, getting the total. So this is average 4. The same to the mean. Just think of ways of getting the mean. It doesn't mean actually. Oh, mean is the same as average. Sorry. So you can see we have several, almost 5 ways of getting the same thing. So the one that you remember is the one that you use. The next thing I want us to do is let's add borders to this data. I want us to find now this is the mean. I want us to find how many males or females we have. So we can use count. We can use count to get how many males. So I'm going to write male and I'm going to write female. Then I'm going to write count. So I'm going to count if male, count if female. So count. Again, before even you count, you can even count how many people. Assuming you have several files, several data sets, you can always count how many are there. So assuming you have up to, let's say, up to down, and you don't know how to get to count how many things you have there, you can use count. So there's a function called count. and count will count all places that are having data. So up to that point, it tells us we have how many. So this one always counts the numeric actually. It counts the numeric. At this point, I can use numeric values. Let me count how many values are these ones. You can see there are 10. So it tells us we have 10. So for our data set. So count is val. Again, at this point, I'm going to use count if. So there's a function called count if. So this one is counting if a criteria is added to this question. So count if. There's count blank that counts if we have any spaces within your data. So again, you need to understand what is count blank. Count what we call count blank. I'll do count which is okay. So the next thing is this count if. So we're going to set the range that you want to count is this male female. You want to know how many male, how many female are there, assuming you have a big data set. Then the criteria is basically this point. Then press enter. And so we have 7 males, and it tells us if you autoapply autofill using this function, we have just 3 females. Okay, let's apply borders to this work. Let's apply borders to this work. I want to apply borders to this work. I want to apply thick borders around it. So that is a thick border, but again I can apply just borders around this one, all borders. So this is all borders. So sometimes you get your work that is looking this way, and you're like, how did somebody get this one? So basically, this is what they do. Okay. So the next is count if. I want us to do something on. Let me demonstrate count before I go to count. Before I go to if function. So there is this function called count. So assuming I have names, I have serial numbers, I have names. So these are supposed to be serial number, or maybe they just the number of the registration. Then I have the names here. So what I'll do, I can combine count with sequence to enable me to have auto numbering. That is what I mean. So what I'll do, I'll type count then I'll add the function called sequence. So the row, I'll just highlight this row. So basically that is it. So you can see at 0, I type sum. Sorry. Let me do that again. Count So basically it counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So this point, then I add sequence. So I will just select the entire row. This is B3, so I'll start from B3. I don't know why this Excel already has some errors, but it's fine. Let me open a different one again. So we have this is where we have serial numbers. So Excel sometimes has those errors, and you're like trying and you're not getting whatever you want to. So assuming I want to that one, I'll just write visit sequence first and count let me see. Count Yeah, so you can see basically we start with sequence, then count From there, you'll be able to, for example, if I write sum, then the next one, where the next one. So actually, it does the auto numbering for you. You can see. I don't know whether you guys have got that. You've got that. Let me repeat. So to do auto numbering in Excel, especially when you're doing this one, you just need to, for example, we're having the serial number here. So numbers. Then we have your name. So that is where you're going